There were a lot of good fantasy performances this past weekend, but there were also some brutal ones. So time to ask the question that many of you fantasy owners are asking today. Crazy Voice Guy, take it away.
Antonio Brown only had 4 catches for 34 yards and threw a tantrum on the sidelines. What the just happened?
Yeah, Antonio Brown was brutal, under 40 yards, 7 fantasy points. I mean, bad, right? And yet still led the team with 8 targets. You like that. And still, even after this bad performance, the 8th best wide receiver in fantasy. 7 of his next 12 games are at home. They've started on the road a lot so far. So maybe trade low. Get this, last 4 seasons, 26 fantasy points per game at home for Antonio Brown. He's going to be fine. Next up.
Melvin Gordon was held to just 29 total yards against the Eagles. What the fouch just happened?
Yeah, he's not getting the goal line work. Remember, last year, 29 carries inside the 10-yard line. That was 4th most in the NFL. So far this year, just 1 carry inside the 10. Luckily, the volume is there. 40 snaps per game this year. But he's more of an RB2 going forward than an RB1. Unfortunately, the Chargers are just down in a lot of games. Stay patient with Melvin Gordon. But again, RB2, not an RB1. Next up.
Joe Mixon rushed for 29 yards and only had 19 receiving yards against the Browns. What the 5-way jelly just happened?
Oh, well, maybe the Browns don't have such a terrible run defense, by the way. They're 14th best in fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs so far this year. You like the volume here in terms of what he got. 31 snaps. He led the running back of the Cincinnati Bengals there. But, yeah, I'm concerned on Joe Mixon. They're one of 2 teams that don't have a rushing touchdown this year, the Bengals. Like, until further notice, he's a flex play. They just can't seem to generate enough rushing offense with Joe Mixon. So, again, he's a shaky flex play going forward. Who's next up?
DAndre Allen had 37 receiving yards, but only 7 rushing yards. What the buck just happened?
Yeah, well, listen, the positives here, he played 40 snaps last week, so more than Alex Collins, more than Terrence West combined, right? He's the only running back with at least 5 catches for each of the last 3 weeks. And this is also positive. Over the last 2 weeks, 98% of his fantasy production has come when the Ravens are down by at least 10 points. He's their passing down back. I think just game flow got in the way here. More of a flex play than an RB2, but I'm still sticking with Buck Allen, especially in PPR. Who's next?
Golden Tate made 3 catches for only 29 yards against Minnesota. What the fighting Irish has happened?
Yeah, part of the problem here is this team wants to run the ball. Matthew Stafford against a tough Vikings defense spread the ball around. 8 different players had a catch, none with more than 4. Ultimately, Golden Tate will be fine, but I think, again, more of a wide receiver 3 than a wide receiver 2 because that's what Detroit wants to do. They want to run the ball, control the clock. They don't want to sling it all over the place. So sadly, Golden Tate not going to be as much volume as we've seen in years past.